Hello and welcome everybody to Teamfight Talkshow. That's right, we're back. Happy, I guess it's winter in some places. It's winter, well, pretty much everywhere in the northern hemisphere at least. But whether it's cold or not, it depends on your geographical location. But either way, I'm DoA. With me, of course, is Frodan. How you doing, Frodan?
I'm doing great. So the past, I missed everybody. It's been like a month
Yeah,
or
it's
two,
been a
a
while.
month and change since like Set 6 released. And I just really have been busy with life and stuff. I've moved to Seattle. That was this past week or two. I was traveling for events. I got married. This is not the
Big,
order of
big.
importance. It was just going back, most recent to the most distant. And then there's like this big like Twitch Rivals offline event we did. So November was absolutely crazy. December is like full-time TFT focus. So I'm really excited to be back.
Nice, awesome. We're glad you're back too, and we're also glad that we have our special guest Team Liquid Zone, Kurumx. How you doing, man?
Yo, I'm doing pretty good.
Great.
My life not as exciting as Frodan's. I kind of just sit in my room, play TFT, and stream. So
I mean,
that's what I've been up to. That's what I've been up to.
That's exciting too. You've got things like, patch notes happening and
Yeah,
people
patch
saying
notes.
things in Twitch
Yeah.
chat. That's about,
Set
Mhm.
six,
about the
Set
same.
six has been popping off though. Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
Sussex has
Yeah.
been pretty crazy.
if there's
Yeah.
any time where you should be locking yourself and streaming, it's like at the beginning of Set 6. Like Soju's viewership has been popping off, and like as a result, like trickling down to like a bunch of other people. So
Mhm.
much like outside of TFT interest. Like, sure, there's like league creators that have been interested in TFT, but there's many people who are now getting into it. Just overall, it's a really good time to be a TFT fan.
Yeah,
Agree.
we've got a ton to talk about today actually with that. We've got the usual stuff, the patch notes, everything. We even I think for the first time in a while, we've got some like outside of the game stuff to talk about that does affect the game, which is interesting. That's new a little bit for Team Fight Talk Show. But like Dan's saying, like there's just been so much interest around League of Legends that have then kind of been translated into TFT. Like basically, we found out over time that TFT Set 6 was kind of like a preview of Arcane in the end. Everything in the set was basically referential to the Netflix show, but we'll get into all that later. I'm hyped about a new segment for this show now that is from the brain of Frodan again. The chat has augments. we have Hex Tech augments in Team Fight Talk Show now. So chat will get a chance to vote for one of these, and we are beholden to follow up on it at some point in the show. So here's our ones for today. Pandora's box. Why don't you go through them, Frodan? Go ahead.
Yeah, so we have three options. You're going to be voting in chat, and based on the most popular vote, you are selecting an augment for our talk show episode. We'll be doing this every single episode for Set 6, just making it very thematic. So shout out to the production crew at GiantSlayer/Wisdom for upping it. So the first is Pandora's box, which is a random topic set by chatter. I'm really, I wasn't sure about this one. I can't believe they actually took this idea.
That's kind of sauce. Yeah.
Especially with Kurumx right here.
Wait.
And,
why especially me? Why especially me?
Because if anybody from Kurumx chat is trying to manipulate the vote of the polls, whatnot, I'm really scared about what topic they're going to set. So I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen. Option 2 is phony frontline, where the hosts impersonate community members during one segment. In this case, it would be Agree. And then 3 would be to change the tier list entirely. It'd be a topic that was set beforehand, but you can change that. Maybe instead, Kern's going to do a different tier list. We'll find out. It's up to you.
Interesting. Okay, well, I'm looking at chat right now to see what the choices are. It's pretty neck and neck right now between the first couple. If there's any fans of the changing of the tier lists, love to get their votes in. But it's how long is this vote for? Is actually
it's over
and
it's a tie.
It's
a tie between.
We have to have a runoff poll.
2.
We have to have a runoff poll maybe now between 1 and 2. Yeah, we're gonna do a new poll between 1 and 2, between Pandora's box and phony frontline. It's like this in game too. You kind of go by process of elimination, right? It's like, well, what one am I definitely not gonna pick? And then like out of those other two, there you go. Oh wow, look at our production.
Whoa.
They have the ability to make single augments. I have no idea. We just moved to like new technology here, and it is showing. That's
both these augments are like S tier as well. Tier 1.
They are.
That's right.
I think
that's
so.
right.
Yeah, these are like diamond augments, man. All right, I'm watching this vote very closely.
I'm gonna vote as well here. I'm getting in on the action, but it does look like Pandora's box is pulling away. I'm a
by
little
quite a
bit
bit.
scared. The FB
Wait, so how do
touchdowns
you
are
select
coming
the chatter
out.
that picks the topic?
Well,
You know,
we'll figure that out. Well,
Oh,
you
okay.
know, we can choose. Should we? I don't know, Dan. Should we let our guests choose? Like, what are we gonna do? Do we trust Kurum to make the choice? Like,
I like that. I like that. So our guest will end up
Oh, I
choosing
choose?
the
Oh, okay.
topic. So
Let
Kerm,
you
if something
choose.
catches your eye, basically what you should be
Yeah.
doing right now, since Pandora's box is going to win by a pretty significant margin here, try to just give a suggestion on what the topic is. Kerm will pick it, and then we'll talk about it later in the show because we're going to go through news and do all the normal headline stuff, and then when it comes time for it, we'll go ahead and talk about this topic. It'll be fun.
All right, Kurum. I see one word that's constantly popping up in chat, but when you look through recent chat, what topic?
I mean, I just see golf and FB touchdown. So like football or golf, but I'm not. I mean, those aren't TFT related.
It's okay. It
So
doesn't have to be.
If anyone's got anything TFT related, I'm down.
It doesn't even have to be. If
Okay.
you want to talk about football, we
Oh.
can do that. I got a lot of stuff.
Oh
to
no,
on Aaron Rodgers,
I don't
but
really care about football or golf.
That'd be my
Alright.
talk show now. Yeah.
We got some time.
Okay. So, should we just talk about something else while Kurum decides, or should we wait until the choice is made? We've never done this before.
I think we should go over the news. Give some time
All right,
for
sure,
a
sure.
good topic
We can do
to come across Kerm's eye. And then after
All
we're
right.
done with news, Kerm will be like, okay, this is the topic we're going to talk about. Let's go from there.
Sounds fine. So let's take a look at the B patch that came out. Let's chat about that for a little bit. And as such, there it is. So a little bit of nerfs to Katarina. I mean, like Katarina's been kind of like the meta of choice. Excuse me, for the last few weeks now, or last couple weeks or so. But I've kind of enjoyed it because when I have 2 to 3 people contesting cat in my lobby, I get to play like a lot of other things uncontested. But Kurum, what's been your impression, both on that, but then on the B patch notes?
I mean, I think most of these changes were pretty good. Good thing the Katarina change happened, like really early on, or we would all be fucked right now. So, like, I think Katarina is definitely an S tier comp after these changes, but people like as the patch goes on, like people find better ways to counter it and stuff. Like personally, I've climbed like infinite on this patch already, and I haven't played a single game of Katarina, so it's not like you have to play Katarina to climb. The Scion change is basically just changing his identity completely. I think it's fine. If they don't want Scion to be a carry, it's fine. They want Scion to be the frontliner for Samira, right? That's like what the goal is, I guess. The Colossus change really seems weird to me because you're playing 2 reverse fawns to activate this trait, and then you're nerfing the trait, and it's like, when would you ever play Colossus now? Like you really need the trait. Like if you're gonna play 2 reverse fawns to activate a trait, the trait better be strong enough to warrant playing, right? So, yeah, the Colossus nerf was pretty weird to me. I don't really agree with that. Mutant definitely needed a nerf, but now it kind of feels like I just look at the Mutant every single game. If it's not Darkstar, I ignore Mutants completely. So I don't know if that's like what they want. But yeah.
All right. Frodan, what are your thoughts on the B patch?
Yeah, I mean, he did a pretty good summary of like how important the B patch was. Like Katarina already is running quite prevalent, but just like Kerm said, you can definitely just climb totally fine without Katarina. It's definitely overhyped and quite beatable. Katarina actually doesn't win many lobbies. She usually like does a really good job securing top 4, maybe even second, but has a hard time closing out because people position really well into Sins. The really big thing though that the nerf to, or rather the Katarina patch has done is accelerate the tempo of lobbies. Like I actually see a lot of people die by like before Raptors, there's usually like 1 or 2 players, and then there's like half the lobby dead by like 5-3. It's actually kind of nuts sometimes, where it feels like there's 3 players at single digits, and then like 4 people at like 45 life, and then 1 person at like 80. And I think that's largely due to like how the current tempo swings are going because of like the 3-2 roll down Katarina, and the way Katarina wins is like a 5-0, 6-0 wipe every single time. So you have to really be good at building a mid-game board in stage 3. That's probably the biggest skill to have at the moment, which is like playing a good stage 3 into a, of course, the usual stuff like the transitions and proper itemization. But like, if you have a fraudulent stage 3 board and you're like in a position where you have to roll on 4-1, we already know what happens when you have to commit 40, 50 gold at 4-1. You're playing the lottery. You're either gonna have 2 copies of Yone 1 and do nothing, or like whatever carry you're trying to run, or you're gonna have to play like some kind of makeshift carry and hope that you don't queue into Katarina while she's spiking. So this is kind of the dynamic that I think people are frustrated by at high level, that ultimately is going to probably get nerfed. I don't know the exact patch notes off the top of my head, but Mort has indicated that reroll is going to be significantly taken down. And this is also not just Katarina, but Trundle and a couple of other like, really common 2-cost reroll stuff. It's just been too strong right now in this patch. But other than that, I think it's been still really fun.
Yeah, no, I've still had, I've said it before, I feel like I've had more fun with set 6 than I've had with any set on launch in TFT, which is saying a lot, because I've enjoyed some of the other ones like Chosen. I know I might be unique on that one, but I love that one. But for me, I understand the Colossus nerf, and the reason is because I discovered AD Cho 3, and I've been using it to win games on the ladder, and they decided that was just a little bit too much. Yeah, I heard he was also playing that as well, and Mort took one look at it. He's like, nope, not gonna allow that. We got to bring this down before more people discover it. So I'm telling you, the Cho tech, it's out there. That's why the nerf came through. Preemptive strike by the devs there.
What's so funny is that they actually found a new Colossus build, which is the Clapio. You build AD Galio, and you give him all 3 Socialite and full Enchanter support. And he literally claps in game, but he actually has such a high base AD that when he crashes, he actually like 2-taps almost any carry, whether they're 2 or 3 star. So there are some viable, like really interesting builds out there. I think Keen was the first player that I saw doing it. I'm not sure. I've never pulled it off though. I think I averaged like a 6.5 placement when I tried this comp, Kurum. So have you tried this comp? Is it that good?
Yeah, I mean, one game I kind of got forced into it because I was carrying like Samira 2, and there was basically no hope of getting Samira 3. Like, I rolled a lot of gold and didn't find a single Samira. And like my augments are in like a weird way where like I could either go like I couldn't go 5 Imperial, but like I couldn't go 3 Imperial either. So I ended up just like selling Samira and just stacking Galio 1 and praying to God I got a 4th, and it ended up being a 3rd, even though it was like guaranteed bot 4. So I mean, that was the one time I played it.
Okay.
I think the comp actually sucks. I don't think it's very good. It's probably okay if you go fast 9, but like even then, like, aren't there just better things to go for? Like Jinx and Kaisa and stuff like that are just like better 80 carries. Also, you get hard countered by GiantSlayer.
That is true.
I think the comp actually sucks, but it's pretty cool. Like, it has a cool name, and it's pretty fun to like watch Galio like slam on the whole team and one shot them. So like sometimes when you make it work, it feels pretty cool.
I think this is a great thing for TFT though. Like, there always should be these compositions that, like, if you get them online once in a while in the right lobby, it looks really good and it's fun and it's like a YouTube video or something like that, right? But it doesn't need to be meta. I've been a fan of the off meta stuff from day one. So I like it. The more comps like this that are like on the tertiary of actually being good, but sometimes good enough, the better,
The best variation of this comp on meta TFT averages a 5.2. Do not play this comp. I am telling you, it is incredible bait.
Yeah, it's not great. It works once in a while, Yeah.
I think it's like if you hit like Galio 2 on 8 and you don't hit any other 80 carry, just play Galio. Play around Galio.
Yeah, it's like one of those 20% of the time it works every time comps,
My theory is that it'd be something that you can play with mercenaries, because you can, like, mercenaries are a way you can get Nikos, and then you want to play things like Infinity Edge on Gangplank anyways. So maybe like you cash out, you get like maybe the first legendary hit is Galio. Okay, cool. You're gonna double Nico Galio and just like build into that. Like, that makes more sense to me, as opposed to like starting the game out thinking like I'm gonna force this, or like
there's no way. I mean, honestly, that's true for every 5 cost in the game though. Like dude, when you're on like stage 2 and people are like, oh, it's a Jinx game, like, dude, please, like, there's no, like, just don't talk. Like, why can't you play for specific 5 costs in TFT at like a high level? Like,
why can't you just let us theory craft this AD Galio build? Like, why do you have to shut us down? Come on, we're just trying to like we're trying to give the fans more options, man.
Yeah, for fun, I think you can just go for it from the very beginning. Fuck it.
Yeah, there you go. Just send it, right?
Mhm.
Let's talk about Double Up. It's gotten its first patch. That's right. Moving on to a game mode that I finally got to play some games of, and holy crap, is it fun! Like I'm in love with Double Up. But it has a patch. There you go. Or it's in, at least. It's in. Was it not
Yeah,
in our last
it
show?
released in the while the
It
while the show
released
was on
before our
hiatus.
last show, right?
Yeah. So we didn't have our
Was it?
previous. We didn't really have much
people were playing
ability to
PvE.
talk about it, but doubles is
okay,
really
right.
fun. It's quite degenerate, if I can just be very honest. It's like TFT, but like when you take off the limit breakers, and as a result, everyone can just be way too strong too quickly. But it's like a fun thing because you're working out these strategies. And overall, it's like a really good kind of. It reminds me kind of like the way Dota like does a bunch of stuff, right? Like everything feels like way too strong and too broken, but it kind of works because everyone feels like they have tools to do stuff.
It's the old StarCraft 1 thing, right? Where like if everything is OP, then it balances out in a weird way. How much Double Up have you been playing, Kurumx?
Oh, I have not played much. I played some with Kyun, and I played some with my girlfriend.
Yeah,
but
who's a better doubles
been
partner? Who's a better doubles partner, Candy or Kyun?
I mean, it's Kyun. It's Kyun for sure.
But, no,
dude,
that's the wrong answer. No.
I was playing with Candy, and we were like, yeah, we should funnel one player, and it was better to funnel me, and she sent me Poppy 1 instead of like I don't get it. I don't get it. If you're gonna funnel someone, why not send them all the resources that they need so that they can win faster and go to your other board and then help you, right? Like it's like reverse funneling. It makes no sense to send over an item with a shit unit. That makes no sense. Okay. Anyway, yeah,
we set you up. We set you up for easy points, and yeah.
Oh man.
Well, you can lead a horse to water, but it's a fun game mode. It's a fun game.
It's fun. It's fun.
Good.
Also, hopefully, there's like upcoming events for it, and then those will be really fun. When does Double Up leave? Do you guys know? When is it dipping out?
Yeah, hopefully it just is in the game permanently. I mean, well, that's
they
the
said
thing,
they're
right?
taking it out like soon. I don't know how soon though.
Wait, really?
Well,
they said they're taking it out and then like working on it more and then re-releasing it later.
Oh, right. I remember that. Wait, Mortdog's in chat. We can just ask him.
Oh, really?
I mean, hopefully, because I remember they said similar things about Hyperroll as well, where they were like, we're not sure how long this is going to stick around. Obviously it's ended up sticking around. It's a great like little practice tool, but hopefully Double Up sticks around. If it goes away to get like sort of like reworked and revamped. Okay, Mort says early January is the plan.
Oh, okay.
For like,
we still got a lot of time then.
Yeah, for moving Double. So you got the Christmas break, you got the holidays to play some Double Up and enjoy it and give the devs a lot of data at least, but. Yeah, I think it's awesome, and I can't imagine it ever going away permanently. It's too good.
I think Double Up is something that like TFT really needs.
Yeah.
Like a way to play with your friends and stuff. I actually think like that's one of the worst changes they ever made. In actual League of Legends, is like not letting you duo with people in Master, like not letting you like duo with your friends, like being able to like duo with your boy and like push for Challenger together. That shit was fun. And it didn't even like give you like I mean, I guess some people it could give like a really big advantage, if they're like turbo synergy bot lane and just hard stomp. But like when I used to duo in Challenger, like with like Josh Mabry and other friends of mine, it's not like I felt like some crazy advantage by doing so. But I think like having a way to like play with someone else in TFT is really important. I kind of wish that 100%. They would make it like more competitive. Like the ranking system is kind of a joke, getting promoted to like green and blue and orange tier and stuff. Like it makes it feel like more like for fun instead of like more serious. I think it like kind of makes people not want to sweat as much and just chill and like play for fun. I think it would be fun to see like a competitive duo ladder. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that like it makes sense for them to not take it like the first iteration of Double Up might not even be the iteration that actually is good for ranked and stuff. There's like first of all, there's a lot of bugs straight up in Double Up versus solo queue. So if it was actually like this sweat ladder that actually like qualified for whatever, I'm sure that'd be driving people nuts because there's set 6 is great, but also very candidly, it's probably the buggiest that I've ever played of TFT. And that's because it's so ambitious. It's like a good problem to have. And so I imagine that they're probably going to try to see if Double Up could probably have its own ranking. At the same time, they've never said that they wanted to do that, so I'm not sure.
It's one of those things where, like, I would hope eventually, as it gets developed more, they'll get it to a point where we could do something like that. I think for now, like, the for fun stuff is fine because it's for fun right now. It's not meant to be like taken super seriously, I think. But
Right.
I'd love to see like a ladder system where either you can queue with a random partner, but then you've got a separate ladder for like registered teams where it's like you kind of like they have the Clash thing in the League client, right, where you can like set a team for a certain weekend for a tournament and all that.
Clash TFT,
Like,
that'd be
Yeah,
super fun.
so be able to do that with duos, like register your team and then see how far that duo can go. That'd be sick. So hopefully we get things like that in the future. That'd be pretty neat. But we have one more piece of news to talk about, and then we'll figure out the Pandora's chat thing. But Silco, this was kind of a shock when I woke up this morning. I saw this and I was like, wait, what? So, remember we got Akshan last set at the same time that he came out in League. So that was new for TFT to sort of get a champion at the same time as it releases on Summoner's Rift. But now we get our own exclusive champion, and it's none other than the champion inspired by my former co-caster Monte Cristo, Silco. Who knew? Look at the guy. It's clearly he's the villain in Riot's universe. It clearly looks like Monty. It's so obvious, right? But it's going to be great to have him in TFT. He was really neat in the show and all that. And more than this, they also talked about other people. I don't even want to say champions anymore because they're saying other people might be coming in from outside of Runeterra, right? So we might see what, like, who knows, from Valorant characters like Mario. Who knows at this point, right?
Mario.
Like Mario. Yes, it's the Smash Bros of auto chess now. Who knows? But Kurum, what's your take on the news with Silco and everything else that went with it?
I mean, the first thing I saw about this was in Twitch chat saying Silco was coming to TFT. I just thought it was like the biggest troll. I didn't think that was real, but it turns out it is real. I don't know. I mean, he's. I feel like he's almost for sure gonna be a 5-cost now. Like,
I mean, obviously
they're like hyping him up and stuff, and he's probably gonna have like a unique trait or something. But yeah, I think it'll be really cool to see like what they do with a champion that they don't have like any base to work with. Like, in League, there's like 4 abilities to choose from. And with this, like, it's only for TFT. Like, they have to like design it all themselves. So it's gonna be pretty cool to see what they come up with.
Yeah, he's probably not gonna do sit-ups.
I hope he does some kind of work. That'd be pretty funny. This is like such a big deal on many accounts. So on the surface, it's really hyped because Arcane was a smashing success. For many reasons. We're not here to necessarily deep dive into Arcane. First of all, we don't want to do spoilers. So for people who haven't watched it, it's on Netflix. Go watch it. It's really good. Especially if you're a fan.
And the final's been out for over a week, so
it's true. But I still want to be mindful of it because I saw some people were saying like, oh, I don't want any spoilers of it. Maybe they're just trolling. So definitely go watch it. But Arcane did such a good job actually having a video game adaptation in this kind of format that hasn't really been done, well before. Kind of similar to like, having the first like Marvel movies that actually felt really good and introduced like superhero movies that could be cool, and then kind of launched it into this. It feels like gaming hadn't had that moment as powerful as some like the comic book stuff. And so this is like a really cool achievement from Riot. Then the fact that TFT is themed after Arcane, so you kind of get like a little bit of the feel of the world there, but you can kind of play Arcane, the show, in form of TFT is really great. And this shows that Riot's investing more development resources into TFT. Like, why wouldn't they want Silco to be like a League of Legends champion? Because it's a TFT exclusive thing, driving traffic only to TFT. And then they also talked about how they're willing to go beyond this Runeterra and maybe find ways to incorporate maybe characters you find, of course, in like Legends of Runeterra, the card game, but also like you mentioned Valorant or anything else that they do, because Riot's been releasing games year over year out the wazoo. So there's just so many cool things to be excited for on top of the growth of TFT in general. It's just such an exciting time, and I'm really looking forward to it. The last thing I want to say is that there are some lore rumors of like what Silco actually represents, and like, does he have any relations to other champions? Like, there's like discussions of Silco and Warwick. We won't talk a little bit too much why, but I'm very curious to see if that ends up being the case, because that'd be really cool if that was.
When I first started watching Arcane, I thought it was Jin. He looks like Jin to me. I thought it was.
I heard
Jin
a lot
when
of people say
watching.
that. I think a lot of people had that thought
but
too.
now I realize he's not Jin. He's just like his own guy. So.
Which is cool. Like, this is one of the things that really blew me away with Arcane, because I admit I wasn't going into it expecting a lot. I don't think a lot of us were, both based on just like video game media in the past, and then just kind of like Riot's League lore being kind of all over the place for those of us who kept track of that. But this was good. It took the champions, like Dan said, and made them into, you know, believable people, not just like the characters. It wasn't just a tour de force of, hey, you remember that thing from the game? Well, here it is. Oh, aren't you happy to see that thing from the game here in the show? But they waited so long for that. It wasn't, you know, it's great. I don't want to get into spoilers, but either way, the characters felt like real people. You had characters that were not champions, like Silco, who may be one eventually, but for now is not, just coming into TFT. But I think, you know, maybe mid-set for TFT, they just changed the name of it to just be TFT Arcane, because it is just Arcane, the TFT set. Like all the traits, all the champions. Yeah,
this champion's going to be busted. Like, for
It
sure.
has to be.
Every single Arcane-related champion is busted in this set. Like, Caitlyn's one of the strongest one-costs. Victor's busted. Jinx is busted. Vi is busted. Like all these champions are so busted.
Jace.
Like,
Jace
is the best champion in the game.
Yeah. I for a long time was waiting. You can ask my wife this now. I was waiting for Yumi and Galio to make an appearance somehow or something like that. Like if the Flying Cat would be, you know, part of the academy or whatever.
Yeah.
We had Heimer, so why not Yumi? You know, anything is possible, right? But before we move on, I want to do two things. I want to get some predictions on two things from you. The first thing is I want you to predict what Silco's traits are going to be. You can go 2 trait or 3 trait with this. And I want you to predict one character from an IP that is not League of Legends to be in TFT. So we'll go with you first.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll go with you. Yeah, we'll go with you first, Kurumx. We start
that's kind of hard. What? Okay, his traits. Man, I feel like the joke everyone makes is like he's daddy.
Yeah, we were talking about that before the show.
I don't want to. There's no way his trait is daddy.
We got sister.
Why not? Why not?
No, why not daddy?
But
he has a relationship to Jinx.
He would have to be. It would have to be a unique trait, right? Obviously, Jinx also can't be daddy. But yeah, like I don't think his trait is going to be. It's because she like if they did something like that, maybe it would be like guardian, caretaker, something like that. I don't fucking know. But yeah, I think his trait will probably just be like something like more devious, like evil, like or not evil, but like, you know, like leadership or something like that. So like maybe like commander or some shit. I don't know, because like he's going to war with fucking Piltover, right? Like maybe he'll be commander. Something like that.
You got note to self: don't hire Kurumx to design trait names in the future. Yeah.
Oh no, dude, no. I don't think his trait will be daddy. There's no shot.
I hope.
All right. So the other thing we need from you then is a character from outside of the League of Legends universe to put into TFT.
Does it have to be like a fictional character, or can it be like?
It could be anything you want. Sky's the limit.
Can it be like a person?
Sure.
Okay, because I think it'd be really cool if, you know how like if you win worlds, right, for League, you get like your own skin, you get to design your own skin. What if you get like a chibi little legend version of yourself if you win worlds? Like you know, if they're willing to make Silco, you know, like stuff that's not in League, then maybe they'd be willing to make like little Soju or something. like chibi Soju, and then I could play using Soju as my little legend.
Wow, and you can role play as your little
wonderful.
legend takes damage, and Soju is taking damage. In the game.
Yes.
And it's really funny because this will never happen. Soju's not going to.
Oh yeah. Soju would have to.
They do have to win worlds first. That's
Soju
true.
would have to win. Yeah.
That's the trouble right there. I like the idea though. Yeah. All right, Frodan, what are your predictions?
So I think Silco would get some unique traits, similar to how Jace is like a transformer, or, you know, Yumi's a cuddly. I think Silco would get something kind of like how he's the industrialist, how he's the mastermind behind Shimmer. This is not spoilers. You find this out like in the first episode. So
Sure.
I think something that's kind of unique. And then I think it would make sense if he's part of Chemtech tree and they maybe like have him share like a legendary trait with Victor. So it's kind of like Silco and Victor. But I don't know. Maybe they take out Victor by then. I'm not entirely sure how Victor even fits in. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure, but it kind of makes sense because he's part of that tree, especially since Singe is also part of it. So something along those lines. In terms of the prediction of who are the characters that are not in Runeterra, like I think people's first guess is Valorant, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say Valorant. And I think the iconic characters are like Jet, who is very anime-like anyways, and kind of can fit League of Legends lore with her updraft and her knives. The other, like, I think headliner is like Phoenix, but I think he's kind of taking a little bit of a backseat relative to Jet. So those would be my guess.
Who are also the like the main characters of Valorant? Because I only know Jet.
I mean, like Jet, Phoenix, Sage would be another one.
Oh, Sage, I guess.
Sage.
Yeah.
Sage is kind of boring. She's basically like Soraka, like just straight up.
She heals and builds walls.
Yeah. Well, actually, she's not really like Soraka in that sense. But yeah, I'm not.
Sage comes in and builds a wall that champions have to walk around to get to the other parts of the fight.
Yeah, I mean, we had Anivia do that.
That's true.
Yeah,
it's true. Good point. Good point.
All right. Well, my predictions. I mean, obviously Syndicate. He has to be Syndicate. I think you could maybe fit. Fair enough. You could maybe fit Chemtech in there too. I think Syndicate is a given in my mind. But we need something like. Did we ever use Kingpin as a name for a trait yet? I think because I think Set was Boss, so I think Kingpin would be one. Yeah. It's kind of like the leader of the underground, and he could have some sort of like relationship with other ones that way. But I don't know. I'm interested about his ability. He probably like does the thing where he like pokes his eyeball and but then he doesn't really get stronger. He just sort of like shakes a little bit. So maybe he just shouts words of encouragement. Who knows? He's like the Bard of TFT, but not Bard from League of Legends. Different, like the Bard from the D&D class. You know what I'm talking about. Why'd they name a champion Bard? But anyway, from outside the game, I would say I've been playing a lot of Halo lately, so I'm gonna pick the Master Chief.
Master Chief into
bring the Master Chief into Teamfight Tactics. That's how you do it. His ability is he calls on his phone and like a warthog drives onto the board with like a couple Marines, and he just like does donuts in the middle of the board, shooting everybody from the turret on the back of the warthog. Like that's the
infinite ammo
my
machine
official prediction. That's right. That's right.
Oh jeez.
He doesn't afraid of anyone. Yeah.
Okay.
So there you go. There's my official predictions. But let's move on to Pandora's chat, Pandora's box. They get to choose a topic. We still got to do that at some point. So as we've been watching chat, Kurum, do you have any sort of topic you would like to talk a bit more about from chat?
Okay, there was someone that said if any character from any franchise could be added, then who would you want to see? So did you see that one? Because that was like one of the only TFT related ones I saw.
Sure, we could expand into that.
It's your topic. It's your topic.
Right. But like, I don't really want to talk about golf or football.
That's fine.
So let's do this
understandable.
One.
Okay.
All right.
So
DoA, well, you go
you said
first.
Master Chief.
I said Master Chief. I could come up with another one, but we'll go with Master Chief for now. How about you, Dan? Do you have anything else to add?
I mean, if Smash Bros. Ultimate really pushed the boundaries with it, like heck, they have like a Minecraft character. Like, in the
Steve
game,
is in there,
which is just so silly. So like, I feel like anything I say is just like continuing to jump the shark, like Clifford the Big Red Dog or something. Like, I'm not entirely sure like what to add that hasn't already been like explored as like a weird crossover. So I need a second or two. Okay, Boba Fett comes in and joins the party.
That's right.
I think it's hard to think of something that wouldn't come off as like kind of cheesy, or like something that would be like really cool, like thematically. Like I thought when Arcane came out, I thought Arcane was gonna be like some like cheesy, like lighthearted show. Like I didn't know it was gonna be like so dark and like deep and like actually really interesting to watch. So like I don't know, like Riot Games, I feel like they can pull some like crazy shit out of their ass. Like I don't know what I would want to see in TFT though.
They did a collab with Fortnite. They put Jinx in Fortnite. So it's time that we put in someone from
Fortnite characters in TFT.
Yes.
Is it time?
So it's only appropriate that we get Ninja Tyler Blevins in Teamfight Tactics.
Oh,
for set 7. There you go.
That's a hashtag. Please stream Teamfight Tactics. Heart, love you, Riot Games. What do you think, Kurum?
Oh, I actually, I don't know. I mean, my favorite franchise is probably like, it's probably like my favorite franchise ever is probably just Legend of Zelda, I guess. Like if I have to like, go back all the way to my childhood,
yeah,
like the most impactful game was Zelda for me. So
that's right.
I don't know how Link would smurf in TFT or if he gets shit on or what, but
just do the Garen spin, you know.
Just give him Triforce power. Actually, it works on both sides.
True.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he can actually use Triforce, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Master Sword.
That's right.
All right, well, thank you for that topic. It was experimental. We'll be adding more augments. The document has like 30 to 40 different augments, but that was our first attempt at it, so hope you enjoyed that. Let's go ahead and proceed with the show, though. I think we stalled long enough.
You know me, I could talk about this for hours, but let's move on to agree. Augments are the best set mechanic so far. Kurum, agree?
It's between this and Chosen for sure. Like, they're both really fun. I think Augments are better than Chosen, straight up. So, yeah, I'm going to say agree.
All right. What do you feel that Augments bring to the game that tips the scales a little bit ahead of Chosen?
I think it's like Augments have more room for them to like push boundaries and like more room to like more wiggle room to balance and stuff. The swings at Chosen were like so crazy. And honestly, the swings with Augments right now are also like insanely crazy. I just want to say that like, even though I think like Augments and Chosen are like the best set mechanics so far, I mean that from like a perspective of like they are the most fun and have the most replayability. I think they are also like the two most unbalanced things like TFT has ever seen.
Exactly.
and the variance is actually insane. a comp with bad augments is like 10 times worse than a comp with good augments, right? Which I think is kind of what they're going for. They want like, you know, a comp to be S tier, but then like without like, if you just force it without the correct augments for it, then you know it's not S tier anymore. It's kind of shit. So, right now the main issue with augments is definitely that I get offered 3 augments, but 80 to 90% of the time I can only choose one. There's only one that makes any sense at all. Especially like, you know, when you get offered like trait augments like really early on and it's like you can't even see your shop. You have like 3 units, like, and you get offered like protector heart and it's like, dude, like what can I do with this? So
yeah. But easy agree though, it sounds like. Or fairly easy agree.
I think this set is like it has some like the most replayability of any set, I think. I think so.
I would agree with that. Frodan, agree?
It's a really easy agree for me. And you can actually even judge this based off of the sentiment exactly where we are, but for set 4. About a month and a half in, people were already talking about how Chosen might be the worst thing that ever happened to TFT. The usual stuff, like what is Mortar Dog and Riot doing? Remove Chosen from the game. I really hope mid-set just removes Chosen. They were talking about all this stuff. Right now, all people want is just a little bit more normalization, right? And that's what they're doing for the upcoming balance patch, right? I think they said, like, for example, if you pick a Chemtech, you get like a Zac or something like that. These are like some ways that they can benefit. Or if you pick Enchanter Soul, you get like 8 gold on top of that. These are really cool different levers that they can pull. And ultimately, the reason why Augments had the leg up over Chosen, in my opinion, was because you could still play the game, your game plan, and just work around the Chosen, right? So like, let's say you need to find a Chosen Dusk or a Chosen whatever, and you can just kind of keep waiting until you eventually comes. There's no such thing with augments. You only get 3 looks and then you're done. You don't get to reroll your augments, and you really have to just kind of either pick And I actually find that it's a perfect balance of people who want to play like the same thing. The 20 on 20 Lux or Arcanist or Katarina, they can do that, but it's going to be a little bit trickier to do it. And you have to improvise, which is great. Or the other people who want to play very open and flexibly can also get a lot out of the augments as well. So it's just a really good demonstration of all the lessons that they've learned from the past 5 sets, in both good and bad ways. And I just think it's just so good. Like set 6 is going to be, it's actually scary because there's discussion about whether or not this is the best TFT will ever be. And then like from here is it all downhill. And I guess that's a good problem to have. And it's not really my problem to solve.
I don't think so. I think it's going to keep getting better. I actually think the timeline for TFT is kind of interesting because, you have set 1, which is like basically a honeymoon period, right? No mechanic needed. The game was new. It was so fun. You play infinite and you still don't get bored. Then you get set 2 and it's fun for like a few months. And then you like the mechanic is kind of boring. It's literally socialite, right? And then,
but we didn't know that
like the last few months of the set, you're like really bored.
Yeah.
And then set 3, what was set 3? Galaxy. Set 3 was like the first time like a mechanic has been really crazy and unbalanced. We had freaking Lilac and stuff, like. So I think set 3 was like somewhere in the middle, I guess. And then Chosen come out and it's like a shock. It like shocked like everyone I think that plays TFT or has played TFT for a long time. It's like this amount of variance was like never in TFT before in any way like that. And it's like all the competitive players are bitching. They're like, man, this is crazy. Like what is this bullshit? This guy just hit 3 kills, like Chosen kill. Like it is bullshit. Like technically, like it is bullshit. But like I don't think we really appreciated like, even though it was bullshit, it was also pretty fun. And like honestly, it kind of took the entire set for them to get the balance correct, which hopefully doesn't happen with augments as well. Because I think like going into regionals, the patch was actually pretty balanced for 4.5. Like especially when they made the change where you can't hit 4 call Chosens on 7 unless you're like the luckiest guy alive. So that was definitely a really good change. And then we got set 5, and I think set 5 was like actually like the most boring set of all time. Personally, for me, I really didn't enjoy it at all. I thought shadow items were just annoying and really situational, and just not really fun for like someone that wants to play flex. And then set 6 came out. Set 5.5 came out, and it was a lot better. Definitely a lot better. And then we got set 6, which it's like they took what they learned from like set 4 and set 5 and like applied it to set 6, kind of. It's like they know the game needs variance and replay, like to be like replayable and fun, but they also know like it can't be like too crazy, I guess.
Yeah, you gotta have a balance.
Yeah.
Well,
so like I hope they take what they learned from like set 6 into set 7 as well, and then like set 7's even better, and so on and so on. So
I think they probably will. I think set 6 has been a greatest hits of TFT so far, and so it's an agree for me too. I do think Chosen contests the throne a little bit. That was a really fun mechanic. I've always talked about loving that one, but yeah, set 6 is great. So they're easy agreed. Chad agreed too. Let's move on to question number 2 for agree. And it is excitement about content like Arcane might drive more people to set 6 than excitement about the game itself. Kurum, agree?
I think it definitely helps. I kind of disagree though, because if people are trying out TFT just because of Arcane and the game still sucks, then they're just gonna dip. So I think it needs to be both. So I guess agree, half agree. I don't know.
You can have like both. We can put like both icons in there.
I think both are really important. Basically.
There you go.
Because I think Arcane is something I can recommend to like even my mom, who knows nothing about League of Legends or anything. And I think she would probably still maybe enjoy it. I'm not sure. But like I think Arcane is something you can recommend to your friends that have never ever played League and not feel bad about it.
Unless they see the horny mode in the show, and then they start thinking like, is this what you really like, man? That's
the one person like, oh son, you're into BDSM yordles, okay.
Wait, I know what you're gonna
I'll accept
about. Yeah, maybe.
Well, Frodan, agree?
I don't agree, because I don't think it's like more people will be excited because of Arcane, but I will say that it's very synergistic, and it's one of these things where, like, so for example, all throughout my timeline this past week has been I loved Arcane, and I might even try TFT, and I look at their profile, and it's like a like aspiring pro Valorant player, or like a person that like plays Call of Duty Modern Warfare, like people but like used to play League of Legends. Like there's people who've been like trying out TFT as a result, but that's because they saw a lot of buzz and excitement at the baseline of set 6 before Arcane even released. And so I think Kurum's right, like saying like, oh, Arcane is like what drives the hype for TFT more than just like the game itself. I mean, it's just another really important layer. And perhaps like everyone especially the high elo community, right, always talks about like, what is Riot doing to promote TFT? What is Riot doing to promote TFT? This is what they're doing to promote TFT. And like, it's some of the most excitement and conversation we've ever had about the game since release. And it's just, stonks are going way up right now.
True.
So this is a really interesting question, I think, because and I'd love to know what the numbers are at the end of the day, as far as like how many new users played a game of TFT this set after Arcane came out versus like looking at other sets, like amount of new users and all that kind of stuff. Because if you look at the League of Legends client in general, well, first of all, we talked about TFT gizmos and gadgets basically being TFT Arcane. Mort says the numbers are 4. I don't believe you, Mort. I think it's probably higher than that. But so if you look at the League client and all that, you look at getting into playing Summoner's Rift, you look at getting into TFT. Summoner's Rift, I think, has a much steeper learning curve, frankly, than TFT. TFT, you can literally just get in a game and play it and learn as you go. Summoner's Rift, you go through like training scenarios, you play with bots, you have to go through a lot to actually play with real people. And then when you do, they flame you. So I feel like TFT is a much more accessible way to get into the League of Legends universe, into the client too. So I think stuff like this is going to be great for TFT. So will it for sure? I don't know, but I'm actually going to agree because the question says might, and I think it might actually do that. So I'm very curious to see if I can get my hands on some of that data at the end of the set and see what the effect of that was, because I think it's a cool experiment in gaming in general. So
I will say one major area of improvement, and I know Mort's in chat, and I think a lot of people from the Riot TFT team actually do watch the show, whether live or VOD. The new player experience is still quite a travesty. I think TFT could do so much better to onboard new players instead of just throwing them into the wild.
Just toss them in there.
I think the new player experience could be greatly improved, and I know that because especially since Arcane has come out in the past couple of months or past month of set 6, I've had more people from the Hearthstone community like ask me about TFT and try to get involved. And I'm trying to teach them. I even coach a few of them, and some who are new players are just like completely overwhelmed, and they want to learn badly, but it's like really hard for them to want to continue to stick through it. My face is a travesty. Say it to me. You wouldn't say that to me at LAN, Mort.
Wow. On that note, let's move on to the next Greek question. Players should not be allowed to stream their POVs once spectator mode is publicly available. We got some divisive ones today. Kurum, what do you think?
Players should not be allowed to stream their POVs once spectator mode is publicly available.
It's a competitive integrity question.
Oh, really? Okay. I mean, do people get advantages from streaming their POV though? Like,
I don't know. Do they?
Reading chat, like, the reading chat is a disadvantage. I feel like.
Yeah, totally.
Like,
probably, realistically,
I think it's actually a really big disadvantage.
Oh.
If the player deserves to be there, reading chat should be a disadvantage for sure.
Look.
Anyway. I mean, if TFT wants to be taken seriously as an esport one day, then I think agree.
Okay. Just to make sure everything 100% is unquestionably above board.
Yeah, like I think it's kind of scuffed that like everyone needs to like stream it themselves for like people, like for the main broadcast to like be able to watch. But I mean, like, ideally, like, the big tourneys are in person anyway, right? So
maybe someday.
In that case, then, like, obviously, players wouldn't be allowed to stream.
Right.
if it was on land. So
Frodan, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this one. Disagree? Not surprised.
Disagree. Sorry, that's like Tyler one yelling in the mic. I think it's the opposite. I think that esports should be in general leaning towards everybody streaming their POV, assuming it's technologically capable and it doesn't hinder the broadcast, because it just offers a more unique fan viewing experience and that they can customize. Especially in a game like TFT, no matter how good DoA and I and the main broadcast is, we're not going to be able to watch Kurum's POV the entire tournament. And some players do want to watch Kurum's progress throughout the entire tournament because they're there for him and maybe a few others, but like they really want to support him and watch the journey. You want to see the entire narrative play out, and everyone goes into a tournament with their own stories that they want to see play out. And so,
but sorry to interrupt, but at set 3 Worlds, like, didn't China have like a thing on their streaming site where you could like spectate every single player? Like you could like click a button and like go see the specific player, like what's going on there.
Wait,
like
really?
wouldn't that be the best? Like a main broadcast that's interactive for fans.
I mean, yeah,
to, like,
yes.
go to whichever board that they want us to look at. Like
that's something I was going to
be...
get into, but yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay. If that was possible from spectator mode, like you're talking about, like how in like Dota 2, right? You can like hop into the game and then choose which commentators you're listening to, even as well. I hope you choose me, but the idea is that if this was possible, then yes, absolutely. But in general, like I think that we don't take advantage enough of our digital, the fact that we're all like that we own the digital space. And traditional sports, right? They are even trying to do that. They're offering you so many different streams. Like, well, here's
Manning's stream now.
Exactly. Here's Peyton Manning and Eli Manning talking about the game. They're basically co-streaming, right? Peyton Manning and Eli Manning co-stream NFL games now. And that's like something that like we've been doing for years. So I think like if anything, we should be leaning more into having a lot of people stream, and that way, players get more screen time. So that way they're more familiar with it, right? Like I still have never really seen Nubal's face, and I hope one day we can. But these are the ways that people can really tie into it. And it wasn't until we saw Nubal's name like for the 200th time being rank 1. And like, doing really well, people start to accept him and like start to recognize that. So the more exposure, the better.
Right. I'm gonna agree with this one, but with the caveat of a lot of things that were just said, like Kurum saying being able to look at the different POVs you want to, because I do think as long as people are streaming publicly, there can be competitive integrity issues. Like even if we haven't had it happen a lot in TFT yet, which I don't think we really have had it happen a lot, which is great, it's still out there. No, I agree. Change me to agree, production. I'm gonna agree with this one. But so I do think that has to happen, where we can't allow things to continue the way that they have been. But I do think that there needs to be the ability for people to look at the views they want to look at rather than the main broadcast, or listen to the main broadcast, listen to the commentators, but follow one POV. And this stretches back all the way to over a decade ago when I was here in South Korea and watching StarCraft 1 matches in the studios, because even back then in the studio, they would have the big screen that would show the observer's POV. But then on the left and right, they would have the individual player POVs too on smaller monitors. So if you wanted to, you could watch whoever's POV from their perspective that entire time. But, the big monitor was right there to just watch like the broadcast itself. So even all the way 10 years ago, that was already being recognized as something that was important, as being able to watch individual POVs, right? People wanted to get good at that particular race, Terran or Zerg or Protoss or whatever in StarCraft, In Overwatch League, we had a service for a while where you could choose whatever player's point of view you wanted to watch and watch that, and then still hear the main game commentary over it. And that was great too. So I'm like seeing a TFT future like that, right? Where you've got the main broadcast, you've got that audio, but then you've got the ability to watch and study whatever player you want to. So as long as that exists, then I think we can change things up from just having everyone stream their POVs. But obviously we need things to change on planet Earth a bit first before we can get into all that, in reality. But I think that'd be cool. So it's an agree for me, but interesting question, interesting conversation that could be a podcast in itself. But we have to move on. Next agree question, our final one, is from Soju. He said this on his stream, We couldn't play the clip for you, but he said if you have to use Blitz, you're just admitting that you suck at the game. Blitz, of course, is one of the tracking apps that's become popular, of course, with
not Blitzcrank.
We have Likely. Yeah, not Blitzcrank itself. We're talking about the tracking app. That's right. We all love Blitzcrank. But Kurum, what have you to say about this statement from Soju?
Okay, I mean, this is a disagree for sure. And I just want to say that there's no way Soju actually believes this, because he started using it like a couple days ago as well.
Oh, really?
Soju just says a lot of stuff that he doesn't actually believe, I think. So, but I will say, I mean, I've voiced my opinion on this like a lot. I basically relate like tracking matchmaking like in your head or like manually. Like it's kind of like tracking like dragon timers and baron timers and blue buff timers before they were implemented into the game, right? It definitely gives you an advantage. Like say like there's no timers, right? Say there's no blitz app. Like it definitely gives you an advantage to do that. I don't think it's like a skillful thing to do. I don't think it's like it makes you more skilled to track dragon timer and like post it in chat. It's definitely like a really good thing to do to help you win. I think like them putting it into the game, putting it like into the game like for everyone to see. I remember there was like a lot of backlash back then when it happened in League, and they're like, "Oh, like you're moving skill that's been in the game for so long." Like, dude, it's like it should be publicly available information. Like, I don't think it's skillful to like have this like timer tracked. And I kind of look at Blitz app like the exact same way. It's like it should be publicly available. It should be in the game. It should be available for everyone to use. I don't think that they should have allowed Blitz app before it was implemented into the game like itself. I think it's kind of dumb that they allow it, because now you're at like a pretty big disadvantage if you don't use Blitz app, and especially for tournaments, because you have to use extra brain power just to like figure out who is in your pool, right? And that's brain power you could use to focus on like transitions or like direction or items and stuff like that, right? So I think it's a really big disadvantage if you don't use it. You should definitely use it. I think it should be in the game already, but it's not. So that sucks. But I mean, as long as it's allowed, of course, you need to use it. You're just putting yourself at a big disadvantage for no reason. So.
All right, Frodan, agree or disagree?
Yeah. Really easy to disagree. Just for context, this was said by Soju just a few hours ago, as he was uninstalling Blitz. And he said that specifically it removes the fun of the game for him, which is really funny because Sox says the opposite in chat. So there you go. Two people who are on opposite sides of this issue that are well respected in the community. Well, one of them is at least very well respected. The other one, we're not entirely sure. The thing about this is exactly what Kurumx said, which is what are the skills that you want to test in a TFT player? Is it memorization? Because, let's say we're playing Texas Hold'em. And every time you get the fourth card, the turn, you flip over one of the cards in the community, and you just have to remember. And then when you get the river, the fifth card, you flip over another card in the community in the first three cards. It's like, does that add skill to the game? I mean, in some ways, yes, but like there's not really what should be tested at that point. And matchup tracking is the same way. There's so many things to already juggle in a game of TFT that you can't truly master every major skill. And that's why you see so many streamers simplify the game almost to an extreme degree, because they have to. If they talk about every possible variable and every possible outcome, they would miss their turn and they would be performing badly on stream. Instead, they have to boil things down to very simple, like, I just need to do this and we're good to go. In reality, they're doing trade-offs in their mind. They're just vocalizing like one sentence summary of what they need to do.
It's just tedious. Like it's just adding like tediousness to the game. Like I don't think it's a skill to track timers, to track matchmaking.
So it's a disagree. That I think that it's a really important tool, and I get what Soju's saying though, which is like he personally enjoys like scouting around the boards, because the additional commentary of this is that when he was using a matchup tracker, he was only scouting 3 people in the lobby, and he felt like he was playing worse because he wasn't looking at what the entire lobby was doing and therefore not adapting his strategy, right? He wasn't seeing if the whole lobby was AP, and all of a sudden he needed to play a lot more enchanters and drop some of his bodyguard from line, for example. Like that's
but shouldn't that be like a separate thought anyway? Like besides like who am I fighting in the next 3 rounds compared to like what do I need in my comp? Like those should be 2 separate thoughts,
Right.
Those shouldn't be like, oh, on the way to figuring out who I'm fighting, I'm also deciding this. It's like those are already two separate things.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah. It's also a good point.
Well, for me, it's a pretty easy disagree again too, and like this is like a debate that's been around as long as esports has been around. Like it was the Baron Dragon timers in League. It was like multi-building select in StarCraft 2 when that came out, and it's like whenever games try to eliminate the mental busy work, some players that were good at that stuff feel like they're being unfairly punished sometimes, right? Because it's like, well, I got good at this one skill, and now you're taking that skill out of the game, and then like, now you're just making it easier for everyone else, and like, why should they get for free what I had to work at? So I get the sentiment with it, but at the same time, it's like Dan said, where it's like, what are the skills we really want to test in TFT? And I don't know if honestly, like knowing who you're playing next really reduces the skill level that much. Honestly, it takes out some of the busy work, but you still do have this burden of scouting the lobby, whether you're playing against people or not, because, like we talked, you need to keep track of what other people are doing in the lobby, whether or not you're playing them anytime soon, to be able to know what to do with your own board, right? So scouting is still very much going to be alive and well, but I think it does make sense to, put that stuff in there. I do think it's unfortunate that the Blitz app and like apps like that have become kind of mandatory right now, especially in a tournament setting, but, it is what it is at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, if I had it my way, I would never... If I had it my way, I would never have Portdog even make the tweet in the first place, allowing it. I would just say like, just keep it banned until it's in the game. But it
presents an awkward
situation. And now if you don't use it, you're trolling, especially in tourneys. Like
at the same time,
like when I'm streaming, when I'm playing ladder, when I'm reading chat during the game, like I barely even use the Blitz app because like I'm already focusing on so many different things, and like honestly, like. It's just not that big of an advantage, but like in tourneys, if you're expending brain power, like instead of like focusing on other things, like it's really bad.
I think it's one of those things too, where it's like, it's better to just allow it than turn a bunch of players into criminals that wouldn't be criminals otherwise, more or less. Or it's like, prohibition in the 1920s, right? It's TFT prohibition. You don't want to turn people using the WhatsApp into hardened criminals, So, for sure. There you go. But easy disagree. I think chat disagreed too, if I remember back then, back when we saw that. But interesting debate. We had a lot of good questions on Agree today. I think there was a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. But we got to move on. Let's talk about esports a little bit. We had the Set 6 format. We chatted about some of this stuff a little bit last show, but we'll get some quick thoughts on it this time around too. Kurum, what's your thoughts on the format overall for Set 6 as it's been released here?
It's not very good. It's kind of sleeper. Basically, the only thing that matters is tourneys. But like these tourneys aren't that hype. They have like 5 to 10K prize pools, and they're spread out over like two months in between tourneys. Like we have like a 2-month gap from the first tourney to the second. We're all just playing ladder, and like
2 in January.
The thing is, like, what's up?
There's 2 in January then.
Oh, there's 2 in January. Okay, that's good. But yeah, I think like there's it's not that hype because there's not like that much motivation to push ladder for like top 2 unless you want to be like a turbo sweat. And like honestly, as a streamer, I don't think it's really worth to be like a turbo sweat. And try to push like top 2 because then like you're like sitting playing on Smurfs and stuff like a lot, and it's just not that fun. So I think the competitive scene, the competitive format, it's probably better than the last set. I think it's probably better than the last set.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I think it's okay. It's not the worst. Like I'm not gonna like talk a lot of shit about it because it's honestly not the worst.
Well,
I think, like,
I'll frame it.
If you're a good player, you probably will qualify through tourneys. So
so I'll frame it this way: what would you like to see that this lacks?
I mean, dude, a tourney-based system would actually be really hype. I think if the tourneys were actually hype themselves.
What would make them more hype?
More money.
What? That's it.
I mean, the answer is higher stakes. There's not really much stakes. For me going into the first tourney, Day 2 was much more hype trying to get to day 3 than playing for +1 qualifier point per slot on day 3. Like, and I don't think the final day is supposed to be less hype than the second day. But I'm pretty sure pretty much everyone felt like that, unless you're high rolling your ass off on the day hard enough to get first place, because then MSI is at stake, which is pretty cool, getting a free slot in MSI. The thing is, like, if you're on the final day of that tourney and you do well in the next tourney as well, which you should, if you're on the final day of that tourney, then you're already guaranteed a slot in MSI anyway. I think. I can't recall like exactly the format, but I think you are. So
interesting. Okay. That's a really interesting point. So
the stakes are too low. Like there's not enough at stake, I think.
Yeah. I just think that there needs to be more uniformity in the format. It's just too many. There's just too much stuff going on. It's like so complicated with how you can qualify. And I get it, right? The idea is that they want to set up an opportunity to qualify via points, right? Via
trying to please everybody.
Leaderboard. Yeah, they're trying to do a lot. Sorry, my lights aren't set up. I'm sweating like crazy right now. My hair looks like Victor all of a sudden. So I think that what they try to do is do all these crazy elaborate things you can do through leaderboards, or you can do things through like tournament cups. And then there's also like point systems. I think if they just set up like a majors circuit and just said, hey, there's like 4 tournaments and they're big ones, like 25, 50K or something like that.
Yeah.
And just like each of them, we're taking the top 2 and then we're going to have them play for the spots for Worlds, right? Like late at the end. Like that's enough. It's simple enough that people, and all you have to do is like be 300 LP masters to be able to enter, right? That's like there's some kind of like benchmark where people can go for. It's a very simple step for people to see like, okay, first I need to be able to play in the qualifiers. Then I'll be able to like go and try to qualify for the regionals, and then I'll go to the World Championship. I look at this, I don't know how we actually get to the regional finals, because like what qualifies as the Piltover Cup? What qualifies as the Zon Cup? What qualifies as the Innovation Cup? These are all really cool like set theme trait stuff, but like it doesn't actually tell us like what it is.
It's just a flowchart. You can look at all that information is on the website, right? If you want to dive deep.
Yeah, I'm fine with that chart. Yeah,
because I think I'm just saying that it kind of lacks like an elegance to it, because it just feels like, well, here are all these like complicated ways that you can get through, and it's just like it should just be straightforward as like enter these big tournaments, everyone's playing in it, and it just creates that hype.
Right. I mean, I do like what they did with like top players on ladder getting a bye through the first day. Like that was a really good idea by them, I think, because it still makes ladder relevant, right? Top ladder rank is still relevant. You're getting an advantage for performing really well on ladder, but it's not sweating 12 weeks straight for snapshots, sitting every single week, getting your 10 games in AFK,
right?
So I think that was a really good idea by them for sure.
Yeah, that's one of the hard things to balance with TFT is balancing ladder importance versus tournament importance, and as time goes on, and ideally we'd have like more and more in-person tournaments. Like I would imagine that some regions are going to go to a situation like, for instance, Korea like could totally have something, if they don't already, where it's like you have a qualifier and then you have like 16 players who are in a season of matches, so they play like weekly matches, and then you have a winner at the end of that, right? And like that process somehow qualifies into Worlds later that year. But more consistent events throughout, I think people would like. We have a good amount of tournaments to set for sure, but what I miss is weekly progression, right? And we had some of this in some of the old Giant Slayer series tournaments, where we got to see players adapt their strategies week to week, get to see them adapt to different patches as they came out, and you get much more of a storyline, And so I would rather have longer seasons almost than weekend tournaments. So just my 2 cents on that. But let's move on and talk a little bit about some of the qualifiers that have come through some of these tournaments already, through the Piltover Cup. We had Pokegom, Pawn Up, Pickled Onion, and Ramblin' make it through. Some names that are very familiar with the community, and some names that are just coming up, So it'll be neat to see if they can hold on. We talked about this a little bit last time too, but any reactions to our top 4 that made it through?
Honestly, wait, let me look at it again. Sorry. Ramblin', who's there? Pocky, Pickle, Pawn Up. I mean, Ramblin' and
Yeah.
Pocky are no-brainers. They're insane. Like they
of
have been
course.
insane players since they started playing the game. I think Ramblin' always has like some of the least games played with like some of the best stats, right? He takes the route of like, not grinding, but just being better than everyone else. So
That's a
achieving
good
the
route
same
to
with
take.
less. Pocky, it's like one of the most innovative players I've ever played versus. He comes like he pulls random shit out of his ass. I've seen him like top 4, like top 3 with Vel'Koz 1 in a regionals lobby. Like that lobby was strong as hell, and he's like top 3 with Vel'Koz 1. I don't even understand how that's possible. I think Pick on Pawn Up are definitely like weaker players than Ramblin and Pocky, but I still respect them a lot. Like I don't know much about Pawn Up. I watch Pickle stream like pretty often. He's usually like like somewhere like around like 1K LP or something. During set, I think he's a good player. I know Sox like really respects him. And I really respect Sox. So if Sox thinks he's good, then I know he must be good. So Pawn
Fair
Up, I don't
enough.
know much about him, so can't say much about him. But I mean, if he got first, then he's probably pretty good.
True enough. Frodan, any thoughts, especially on two of our newish faces? Because I know I know Pickled Onion's been in like tournaments before. I remember that name from other tournaments. Pawn Up, not as much, but need to see him make it through.
I mean, we've seen Pawn Up like just be like a solid top challenger player. Like maybe he's not necessarily like holding rank 1, but he's always just kind of been there, always making appearances like in top 10. I think that all these players have also competed in like regional qualifiers as well. So like no, it's not surprising to see them break through. It'll be more interesting to see like. In my opinion, the story is people like Pocky taking an extended break. I think Pocky is just like not playing until like basically mid-set or whatnot. I mean, he's just chilling. And so I'm looking forward to see like whether or not Pocky and Ramblin keep it up, or they're going to kind of take it easy and as a result like be more well rested, but perhaps not necessarily as sharp as they would be if they're just grinding all the time, or who knows, maybe it works the other way around. So I think it's great. Ramblin, I mean, I'm the most happy for Ramblin here because he never really has gotten the accolades that he really deserves relative to his skill level. I mean, people hype him up all the time. Look at his duo partner Robin songs, who just like talks about how he thinks Ram's the best player in North America. And man, watching his games back was just a pleasure because he just sees it, right? Like it's the most infuriating thing about watching Ramblin is that he makes it seem so easy, and it's really not a lot of times. He's just like, oh, well, you just do XYZ because 1, 2, 3. And it's like, well, yeah, when you put it like that, it makes a lot of sense. And then he just wins. So
If your brain works that way, it's easy. Yeah.
It's like he got like 3 firsts out of 5 games or something like that, and like never dropped out of top 4. It was just like ridiculous. The guy is so good. So.
All right. Well, let's check out some of the EU results. We had our top 16 there. Names on this list. I think Skipeus is a name that we're fairly familiar with, but there's a lot of names. I mean, Fluffy, obviously. There's a lot of names on here, though, that I have not seen before. Just a few that, a couple that I recognize. But there's a lot of new ones
still
on
ongoing?
here.
How does this work? Is it still happening right now?
I believe this was the results from today because I saw Fluffy tweeting his results as he was playing because he's my homie from Hearthstone, so I try to follow him along.
Oh, so do you get something better for 1 to 8 than 9 to 16, or?
I'll check.
Like sorted.
There's a website for this, risinglegends.gg.
Yeah, I have not kept up with the EU at all. So I'm sad that I don't see Salvi because I think Salvi is the best EU player of all time. But
so this is the results of the first qualifier. This weekend is called the Golden Spatula Cup, and this directly qualifies them for EMEA finals. So,
right. All right, cool. So there's the stakes. We'll see who makes it through, but it's cool to see so many new names on that list. We know Europe's got a lot of talent, and so we'll see who makes it through, I suppose. But
yeah, the only people I recognize are Wonder, Fluffy, and Skipeus. So I do not know any of these people.
I am in the same boat as you.
Oh, Aqua Wonder! Shout out to him. He's also another former Hearthstone player. I just gotta look out for my boys. You know, I just gotta call him out.
I think he's on my team. Yeah, he's on my team.
Yeah. Isn't he on Liquid?
Yeah, he's on Liquid.
So you could probably get to know him a little bit then. Yeah.
Actually, he helped me out. Oh wait, no, he didn't help me out. Never mind. I was thinking of Snooty. I remember Snooty gave me
Snooty,
like an EU West account to practice on for regionals or for Worlds and stuff for. But don't tell him more dog because that's account sharing.
Don't admit to account sharing. Yeah, that's
anyway.
Sorry. Moving on.
Anyway,
Time to go to everyone's favorite segment. It's a tier list. Whoa. Let's talk about this. As Dan takes a drink through his transparent water bottle. Let's hear Kurum's NA tier list as it is right now.
We're doing this right now. Oh, this is kind of
hard. We're doing it right now. We're doing it.
Okay.
Any order
Best
you want.
NA right now.
Around.
Yeah.
Should I go top down or
whatever you want? You can start in the middle. You can go wherever you want. Bottom up, top down. Skip around.
I mean, for the first place is Socks. I'm pretty sure it has to be Socks.
All right.
There's no way it's not Socks. Second place has to be Setsuko. There's no way it's not Setsuko. This is just for the set, right?
Yeah. Just right
for
now.
Set 6, right now, like their skill level right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Top 2 is definitely Socks and Setsuko. After that, it gets a little bit sus. It's probably GV8. It's probably GV8. Yeah, it's probably GV8. GV8 is holding rank 1 like pretty often, right?
Fair.
He was like one of the first people that started playing AP, like a lot of AP. So, after that, it's people like me and Soju and Spencer and Solus. Dude, it's a lot of like old players actually that are like popping off this set, isn't it? That's kind of weird, because usually it's like the new players. I guess like Nubal fucking retired. Anyway, let me try to sort these. Let me try to sort these people. I think that, man, it's actually really close. Damn. Nantam is so good too, and he's like an old player. Damn, how do you even sort these people? Holy shit!
You can always move them around if you want to, but yeah, it is.
Okay, let's just put people on the board. Fuck it. Let's just put me, Spencer, Soju, Nantam, Solus.
All right. So you, Nantam, Solus would be filling out the last slots there for now.
Well, no,
right?
He still has 2 spots open because.
Put Ramblin' up too. Put Ramblin' up too.
Ramblin', you talked up Pocky Gum a lot.
But Pocky is not playing right now, so I can't really.
Oh, so this is like right this very moment if you were to play a tournament.
Oh, you know it's so hard to sort fucking Ramblin' because this dude does not play ladder. He does not play ladder. Like how do you, like it's so hard to sort Ramblin'.
You can imagine if he were put in a lobby with the other top players in NA, how would he do? You know?
Oh, he would do really well for sure. He would do really well for sure.
One spot remaining.
One spot remaining. Damn, is it Ramkev? Yeah, I think it might be Ramkev.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I think it's probably Ramkev right now. You know, I think Robin is actually the best player since like for all of Step 5 for sure. But I don't think he's like top 10 right now. He's probably gonna be top 10 like literally like in 2 days or something. Like, you know, within a week, if I had to guess. But like for right now, he's probably not a top 10 player. I think like he's actually just been like traveling a lot and stuff, so that's probably the main reason.
Yeah. Robin seems to be struggling this set actually, which is it's okay. I mean, he's still got a lot of time, but and like you said,
I mean, great players like that. Like every player has slumps too. Like not every player can like be the top player all the time. So he's definitely got a lot of time to pick it back up again.
Okay, I'm gonna try to sort these now. Top 10 NA right now. Man, Spencer's so good too. Oh man, it's hard.
Where does Delicious Milk go? If he's not on the top 10, where does he? Where does he go on your list?
I don't know how you're supposed to read this guy because he only tries in tourneys. How are you supposed to read someone that only tries in tourneys? I don't get it. I actually don't get it. What did Milk place in the first tourney? You guys remember?
He got
day 3.
He didn't go for the last day, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
he
think it was
didn't
just
get, he
day
didn't get
2.
on until
Yeah.
last day.
He got like 5th or something, but he got points. I messaged him about it, and he said he was pretty happy that he just got points. And again, he was just like not taking it like he was taking it seriously, but he's not putting like all his eggs in the tournament basket.
Gotcha. I mean, the tournament basket is the only basket, right? Like there is no ladder basket to set unless you are already in a really good spot for it. Basically, who's going for a ladder snapshot to set? Setsuko, GV8, Soju, Nantam, and is anyone else going for it? I don't think Sox gives a shit. Yeah, Sox told me he doesn't give a shit. But he could probably just get it on accident. Honestly, Sox is really good.
That's true.
Do they? Let me check to see if standings are updated.
Okay, I'll do me 4th, Spencer 5th, Soju 6th.
Okay.
Nantam 7th.
So Solus would move then. Where would Solus move?
Solus 8th. Ramlin 9, Ramkev 10. I think I'll do that.
By the way, you might be the first person ever in our show to rank Nantam in their top 10. I'm not sure if that's true, but I can't remember the last time someone.
That might be right.
I mean, Nantam has been grinding this whole set, and he's been like staying top 10 the entire set. So you gotta respect it.
Totally fair. I hadn't done that.
All right. Well, is that your final list? Looks pretty good.
I don't know. It becomes really hard to rank players that don't play much ladder. Like the reason I can rank Solus high this set is because he has had like 2 accounts in top 10. Like
it's
for a while, right?
It's
like,
so interesting to me hearing that rationale, because that's what we hear a lot from players, obviously in TFT, but like there's not a whole lot of other esports where ladder would be that impactful in a pro's top 10 rankings.
It's because like how would you rank pro poker players, right? You would rank them on their winnings from cash games, because a sample size of 5,000 hands is going to be way better than a sample size of 500 hands. And TFT, you kind of have to rank in the same way. Ladder matters more in TFT. Like how well you do on ladder matters a lot more in TFT than how you do in tourneys, because a 500 game sample size says a lot more about you as a player than a 5 game sample size. Like, and that's just the form. That's just how TFT is.
Even if it's a different environment competitively.
Yes, for sure. Because even though it's a different environment, there is some differences between ladder and tourney play. Like some dude in GM can come in, high roll his ass off on the day, shit on all the top players. Does that mean he is the best in the world? Hell no, it doesn't. It means he got really lucky today, and it was his day. So that's just the reality of like what can happen in TFT. So,
hey, to me, this sounds like we just need more tournaments.
True, we do need more tourneys. Yeah, I agree.
There you go.
We need more tourneys with high stakes for people to try harder and stuff, and also for players like Spencer and Setsuko and Nubal, that are like insane players, insane talent. They don't really want to stream as much, but they can't play TFT if they don't stream, because the only way to make money in TFT is to stream. The only way to like make any like kind of decent, living money is to stream. So it kind of feels bad, because I wish I could watch Setsuko play, and like I wish I could like know more about him, but he just like always keeps it on the DL, So, but even though he's like uncontestedly like a top 2 player.
Interesting. This is going to be something that's going to develop as TFT develops as a game too, as far as the importance of ladder, the importance of streaming, all that stuff is going to change and shift over time. I can't wait to see how it all changes. But thanks for your N8 tier list. We have to move on though. We're running out of time real fast.
Also,
we gotta go
sorry. I just want to say I'm very biased.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm very biased. Like I think that if it was someone else's tier list, if it was Soju's tier list, I'd be below Soju. If it was Spencer's tier list, I'd be below Spencer. But I really do think like those slots in the middle are really close. Like really close.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like really it's like patch dependent. It's also condition dependent, right? Is Soju staying up 20 hours before he's playing his tournament versus like, other stuff. I will say one thing before you go into the mailbag is that I'm trying to work on a project actually right now that might help a little bit of what Kurum and what a little bit you were pointing at, DoA, which is how do we get people to feel like their current LP isn't exactly the whole story, but at the same time bring some consistency to rankings. So it's a project that I'm working on for TFT that'll release probably January 2022.
Intriguing. An announcement of an announcement from Frodan, an esports classic. But
that's right.
It's gonna be hype. It's gonna be hype. We're gonna go into the mailbag while Kurum answers this question. In chat, ask questions as well. Kurum will pick one, and the picked person will win $10. So keep that in mind. Send your questions to us right now in Twitch chat. But while they do that, Kurum, what would a tier 4 augment be like? Would you ever even want this in the game? From RYTG.
No, I wouldn't.
No. Okay, there you go.
Prismatics are already crazy enough. Do you want a tier 4 augment? I mean, definitely not in any competitive sense. It would probably be pretty fun to like see, what could happen. I guess seeing the boundaries pushed even further. Some dude's got 15 units or some shit, right? But no, I definitely would not want to see this in the game. I think prismatics are already like a ton of variants, like a ton of variants. So this would be even going a step further.
Yeah, at a certain point, like the arms race doesn't become interesting anymore because everything's just obnoxiously too strong, and then it becomes just like it's like everyone has nuclear weapons now, and it's just we don't even make shows really about that anymore. The shows are all about like sword fighting or like maybe some gun shootouts, but like and everybody has like a bazooka just like ready to destroy each other. The games end up honestly, what really felt like was the case there's a moment in Hearthstone Battlegrounds where it felt like hero choices and some of the variants was like so extreme that it would feel like a tier 4 augment, and there was like crazy like damage that was being dealt where players would die in like 2 or 3 rounds. And that's not that's a really unsatisfying way to lose because you just feel like you could got more of it. So I wouldn't like a tier 4 augment.
If you could design an augment that would fit in with the
tier
current
4
stuff,
augment,
what would you do? Not even tier 4, like just a regular augment.
Oh, if I could design one?
Yeah. What would Kurum's augment?
I don't know. They already took a lot of the good ideas. I really like Pandora's and Salvage a lot.
Easiest suggestion of my life. They have an augment where you link your PayPal or your credit card, and for $2 you get a Nico's help.
Oh man, I would go broke so fast. Holy fuck.
Riot would make infinite money. The game would be completely pay to win, and TFT would last forever because we would have infinite funding to do anything we want.
There you go, $1 million Piltover Cup coming soon. My augment would be bring in the Master Chief, and then he does donuts in the center of the board of the Warthog. Shoots everyone with the chain gun. There you go. Yeah. Well, right. We have some questions in Discord that we copied for you, Kurum, for you to choose. Yes.
Oh, should I just do them all?
No, just pick one. Pick the person that you... Right, pick one, and then that person
this
wins
one's a no-brainer. Is there a current top 10 TFT player you think that is instrumental for helping lead TFT into the future for new people? I mean, it's definitely Soju, right? Like, Soju's like blowing up every set, streaming more hours than anyone uncontested. Like, he's the only person that can do back-to-back 20-hour streams, right? Like,
man doesn't sleep.
While still playing at like the top level, he exposes so many people to TFT. Like he's carrying super hard, right? And like obviously, like it's good for him too because he's getting rich. It's lit. So, I mean, yeah, for it's definitely Soju. It's for that. And he's top 10. Like he's always top 10. Like I think like it's really hard to just stream TFT for 20 hours straight and still play at like a pretty good level. Like still playing at like such a high level.
It's actually nutty.
He's top 10 Twitch stream on the entire website right now. Like he's doing a lot to get TFT. Like of course, like Kurum said, it's like obviously self-serving, right? He's not like doing it for
of course, it's not a charity, but
sure, it's
like
his business,
Yeah, he like Soju's like a really interesting like face from the creator perspective because he's just like a guy that really embodies the silliness of TFT in a way. Like there's a lot of extreme things that happen in the variants of the game, and Soju just kind of leans into it with his personality by just like being quite extreme with his quips and his remarks and his phrases and the memes, right? And he takes jokes really well, and that's ultimately what it is. TFT is it's a game that either makes you laugh or laughs at you, and that's like something that Soju really embodies. So he's a perfect ambassador, and he's really cleaned up a lot of his act lately, especially if you remember in set 1 and 2 where this dude was toxic. Like he was just straight up like dumpstering people left and right and just being a flame lord. And he's grown a lot, and you know, his birthday was pretty recent, and it's just great to see the community rally behind that as well. I'm just really happy to see what he's done, and honestly, everybody, right? Because everyone's been rising up too and trying to like do their part. So
true enough. Congrats, Blackhawk Downs, for winning that $10 from Kurum. Oh, Kurum's not actually paying it; we're paying it, but yeah. GG. There you go. That brings us to the end of perhaps one of our longest episodes ever, but this is a good one. We had so many good topics, and we had so much interesting discussion. I think I really liked this episode, but it's time to get some final thoughts. Kurum, thanks so much for coming on the show, being a great guest. Any final shout outs, things you want to say, stuff to get off your chest before you depart here?
Shout outs.
Yeah, you got a team, don't you?
Shout out to my chat for the people that actually, you know, like talk about TFT and stuff and like support me. I appreciate that. I think that's it.
All right.
Shout out to Steve Aronset, who's like a low key, like huge TFT fan.
Yes. Steve is the coolest boss I've ever had.
Yeah, right? I kind of wish my boss was at TFT. What?
Like, Steve actually gives a shit about, like, what I'm doing and stuff. It's cool. So.
Yeah.
True enough. Now you're teammates with Bjergsen, too. Wow.
Oh, yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. Dan, final thoughts.
Final thought. I mean, there's a lot that I want to say. I took a long time off, and I'm so glad to be back playing TFT. I tried to play as much as I could. I was playing on Airbnb Wi-Fi that disconnects. I missed entire half stages. I trolled. My profile is so grief, man, because like 40, 50 games, I was just like not being able to play half of it. And I was playing on
it's fake.
I was playing on trackpad. I was disconnecting. People were messaging me like, "Why does your board suck?" And I was like, "Oh." I was so tilted. But I'm glad to be back. And I'm working on a lot of cool stuff. So, you know, there's stuff that I mentioned about like, you know, something coming up in January about, you know, we can figure out like rankings and tier stuff. Trying to organize community tournaments during this long drought, right? We have a giant like off season of December where there's really nothing happening. I'm trying to organize maybe some kind of community tournament, and Kurum, you're obviously invited if you want to join, and we'll get everybody, we'll get the whole band back together. It'll be really fun. But you know, all those details I have to flesh out, and it's always scary talking about it here because nothing's finalized. But we're gonna try to make it happen. So keep your eyes peeled.
Okay.
Wow, hype stuff. All right. Well, hey, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks to Giant Slayer for putting this on. Wisdom, of course, for putting on Giant Slayer, basically. Thanks to you in the chat for watching. Thanks to Riot for making TFT. I feel like I'm in a little bit of a limbo right now, too. Like, next week, I'll finally be back in LA again. I feel like I'll finally be back and able to get back to normal with things. So I can't wait for that. But it's been fun doing the show. I've been playing on 200 ping from Korea and doing as best I can. It's made my decision-making very, very decisive. That'll probably help, right? I'll tell myself that anyway. But that's going to be it for the show. Thanks for watching, everyone. It's been a good time. See you next time. Play a lot of TFT. Stay safe, and we'll see you then.